So what is happening, people? Hey guys, as you can see, I'm not fishing today. I'm under my shed here with my boat, and today I'm going to give you a little bit of a review on my Livescanner. Now, this particular Livescanner I have is the Pro model. The upgrade is the Quad model. I will say this is a very expensive upgrade to your boat. I think the Pro model runs in that $700 range. The Quad model runs in the $1,200 range. Very expensive to put it on your boat. So this is just an option. This is not for everybody. But this is how mine is set up. I'll do a little review on it. I've had this Livescanner for more than a year, so I've had a chance to use it extensively. I'm going to go over some pros and cons of it. Anyway, guys, stay with me, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay guys, so let's get right to it. So I'm going to start with the foot pedal, show you the foot pedal first, and we'll migrate our way up to the head of the Livescanner first. We'll look at the shaft and how the transducer is mounted on the shaft. I'll show you how mine's mounted. We'll take a look at that first. Then I'll show you how the Livescanner is actually mounted to my Ultrex trolling motor. There's a separate There is a separate bracket that you have to buy for your different brands of trolling motors. So let's get right to it. So the first we see is the foot pedal itself. Goes to the right, goes to the left, and this is fairly heavy. You can look at the bottom of it. It's got some little rubber grommets on it that helps it from sliding around. And this probably weighs about, I would say, about 5 pounds. It's pretty heavy, right and left. You see the lead is pretty darn long. It'll reach all the way back to here to run the Livescanner. Sometimes I'll stand back here and run the Livescanner all the way up front, and if I have other fishermen fishing with me and I'm helping, and that way I can watch my Livescope here on the pole. And one of the reasons I picked the Livescanner is this big yellow button on the top. I like that big yellow button, and you can see if I'm sitting there in that chair, I can see this yellow button and the direction it's actually turning. One of the primary reasons I wanted a motorized pole for my Livescope was so my hands would be free, both hands, right and left hand. I have used a pole in the past, nothing wrong with a pole. I have used them, but always one of your hands is tied up. Now I'm right-handed, so I really need to run the pole with my left hand, but since my trolling motor deploys and off the left-hand side, it's difficult for me to put a pole on the left-hand side. That's me personally. Real quick, let's start at the head of it, look at the shaft, how it's connected, and we'll work our way all the way down to the LVS 32 and see how it's mounted on the bottom of the pole, just like it would be on the trolling motor. So you can see it's fairly narrow. You can see I try to line it up directly with the way the boat is actually facing here. Comes down. This is how you take your head off. Loosen that Allen screw. There's another Allen screw in there. You loosen that, this head pops right off. So it's really easy to change. These are compression rings here. This one and this one. You loosen this one, and you can raise this shaft up and down. Now you need that ability. You notice how where I have mine set. I've got my trolling motor head set so where it turns over top of this Livescanner for when it is on spot lock. I just basically have the transducer cables taped. You come to this portion here. This is the shaft that actually removes here. You loosen these bolts. This shaft actually comes off inside. The piece that turns it is inside of here. And this clamp, a compression clamp, clamps around this pole here. And of course on the very bottom, that is the, that is just your transducer mount. It clamps on just like any other Livescope mount does here. It turns. I will say that if you use Livescope, when you're turning that transducer, every once in a while, you'll get a little bit of a blackout on the foot of the trolling motor, depending on which way the trolling motor is turned. This Livescanner does scan. This Livescanner does scan 180 degrees, left to right. It does not go any further than that. So the pro to having this is that I can sit there and operate the trolling motor, whether I'm using my foot control, whether I'm using my handheld, or whether it's on spot lock, and I can look around for fish in the water column, but just by moving my foot, left, right, left, right. And you got to get used to that. It's just like playing a drum. Both feet are moving all the time, most of the time. But that gives you the flexibility. The drawback to the Pro model is it turns quickly. You notice, I'll show you. You noticed on the top, that turns pretty quickly. Now that's bumping it. That's one bump. You can see it's turning maybe 1/4 of an inch here, which means out there at 30 feet, it's probably moving 4 or 5 feet. Now, I contacted Livescanner, and I can change this head to the Pro, and it has a dial on it that you can actually slow down the speed of the head. That is a minus and it is a plus. If I'm moving along, I can scan really quickly looking for crappie, especially if I'm looking for larger size crappie. I can scan it really quickly. But when I have to hone in, sometimes the wind's blowing right to left, back and forth, and I'm trying to adjust the trolling motor, and I'm constantly bumping that head. And sometimes I lose the sight of the lure and the fish. If you're a tournament fisherman or you're specifically targeting large fish, you know what I mean when I say that. You lose that 20-degree beam out in front of you. Now, Livescanner's coming out with a brand new unit that scans back and forth like this. It's supposed to help with that, but that won't be out till October. So right now, let's store this trolling motor and Livescanner back up, and I'll show you kind of how it sets in my boat, and show you how it actually mounts to the Ultrex. You can see this is back stationary. You can see how it's actually turned down. And this is my bounce brace here that I mounted down there, and this just keeps it from bouncing around going down the road. Of course it shakes, but it helps protect it some. And this is the bracket I was telling you about. So you'll have to buy this bracket specifically for your trolling motor. It's 2 bolts here. There's 2 bolts here for your bounce brace for your Ultrex, or you may have a Ghost, or you may have something different. And you have long bolts here, short bolts here. You bolt this bracket on, you put your bounce brace back on your Ultrex. Pretty straightforward and simple. This bracket here is actually your adjustment. See, I can adjust this up. I can turn this piece up and down. So when it's deployed in the water, I can move it as far away as I need to. I choose to leave it down right here. Now before, I had this bracket. This bracket, you can turn it either way. I had this bracket actually flipped this way. And when I stored my Livescanner pole, it actually stored straight up over top like this. And I had no way for the bounce brace to actually attach to it. So I decided to flip this around, and that way it stores lower down on the bow of the boat. So guys, just to recap, in the past I have had my Livescope transducer actually mounted on the shaft of the trolling motor, and it is pretty easy to keep up with the fish. You just use the trolling motor to follow the fish. The only drawback is if you spot lock it, you're going to lose that ability to track the fish or track the brush pile or log jam or whatever. But by having it on the pole, it operates separately, and you're able to track your lure or track the fish by just simply deploying and moving your foot right to left and changing it. Now it does take some getting used to. The boat's floating left, floating right, and you will bump on the left side to turn it. Sometimes you turn it the wrong way, so you will have to get used to moving it in the right direction. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions or comments, just comment below. I'll try to answer those questions if I can. You can go to the Livescanner website, and they have a lot of videos, how-to videos, how to install, that you can check this out if you're interested. Like I said, it is an expensive undertaking to put one on your boat, and it's not for everybody. I'm not saying that's the way you need to go. That's just me personally. I'm using it. Anyway, guys, you remember, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Don't forget to hit the like button and click the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Wildlife Adventures. And as always, you remember, it's a wild life, and I'll see you on the water.